Nie chcesz przeoczyć żadnego wideo? Subskrybuj kanał i kliknij dzwoneczek.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, a bit hassle with the unmuting and sharing my video. So that was a little about our MagiCAD idea, how we wanna contribute to the construction market and industry. And yeah, hello, my name is Hemmo Määttänen. I'm a MagiCAD technician, and I have been working for the technical services in MagiCAD for a couple of years now, and yeah, together with MAT, we are serving the Polish market, and I'm happy to attend this. I'm happy to attend this conference, and today's presentation will be about new features in MagiCAD main release 2022, and plus some features from the update release 1 that hasn't been published yet. But so yeah, the planned release date for that will be in the latter part of October. So a little sneak peek on some of the features and improvements in those versions. So yeah, this presentation will be. I will keep it in English. My Polish is very weak, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe we'll just jump right in, and I can start sharing my screen. Hope you can see me well and hear me well. And a few practicalities as well. Feel free to if you have any questions, feel free to write them down to the public chat. I can try to reply those questions at the end of my presentation, or after the presentation as well. Or if anything occurs to you, then after this event, you can also reach me with by email. So maybe I can type my email to the chat right away. So the yeah, I will try to cover today a little bit of all our disciplines, common tools, and the discipline specific features as well, both when it comes to collaboration tools and purely modeling related features as well, from like coordination perspective, and when it comes to like adding more information to the products in the model. Yes, so yeah, maybe we'll just jump right in then to the presentation. So here, if we start with the common tools that we have in MagiCAD and some new features there, something that we try to do in our when we develop our software is to serve the local like markets, and for that we have now developed this in 22 main release, this the so-called national classification codes, which we can configure here in the data set. And as an example, I have here the UK uniclass method. So what we do here is we configure these different product categories, and they go on a hierarchical level downwards. So as an example, maybe these category names are not correct, but the code is so like ventilation, supply air, and the air terminals and diffusers, and then the different end terminals then differentiated according to their own subcategories as well. So the what you do here is plus that you create the categories. We can also map them directly here with the correct MagiCAD element categories. Here, as an example, supplier terminals. So this contributes to the like the collaboration information data, so to say. Further on, when we go to the model, how we present the information. So we do that on an individual product level. For instance, for this specific air terminal here, we can manage the information and your custom shared parameters as well here in the dataset properties by adding them for products. For instance, this national classification, and here we can then decide according to the category that we just set up that what's the end product and its code. And it doesn't matter which all the ventilation, electrical, and everything is of course included in this. And we just update it to the project, and then we, no matter if there are already existing products in the model, we can update that information there and go to the edit type and see that this information has now been populated to this family with correct information. So, and this again, we might need it, for instance, in IFC export. And then while we're at this, like this collaboration topic, we could take a look at some modeling, that from modeling perspective. And especially when this work sharing in Revit becomes topical. So we work with work sets, for instance, and we need to coordinate, of course, our different systems against each other. And in order to detect all problematic situations as early as possible, we have created this the so-called real-time class detection, and you can see here the red highlighted color that indicates that this piece of duct is now colliding with something in the model. Now this something might be, for instance, like a pipe, but it might also be in a closed work set. When projects, they are heavy, there might be tens or maybe even, I don't know, hundreds work sets, and working with them might slow down the project, so you might not want to open them always. So, but still you want to run some class detections against those elements. So therefore, our class checking now supports including clashes with objects in closed work sets. So yeah, maybe we'll just run the class checking quickly so you can see. Let's take just the current view. Okay, and we get some clashes here, and the BCF industry standard tool manager opens up for us, so we can start cooperating with the partners about these problematic situations. So here we have my pipes are at the moment in a closed work set, but the clashes are detected anyways, so we can still work without any more problems. Like you can see here, I have an example work set piping here which is closed, but we can coordinate our duct systems against them anyway. Now that we are also a bit more about this cooperation, so the 22 main release has now we have added the so-called segment adjustment, which hopefully makes it easier to make these sections when we are not maybe in an early phase design phase where we need to organize or arrange these different systems in a corridor and see them in a section view. So this segment adjustment helps us to do some coordination in that sense. So maybe ducts and cable trays against each other. We might need have a from edge to edge 50 millimeters. And now we're not taking any elevation here into consideration, but just checking that there are no clashes in that side. So the element that is staying on place and the element that we want to check it against. So then we have now a 50 millimeter from edge to edge, a gap there. And further on, we might want to continue and this time have a vertical alignment. We can see perhaps here that, okay, maybe this duct here is colliding with the ceiling. Let's bring it up to the same level with this duct here. So we might have like center to center alignment, or also with bottom alignment. We can organize these different systems in a section view. So this also contributes and speeds up maybe the coordination of systems. I have this ventilation view open here, and we have some ventilation specific features as well that we have added here. Maybe some of you know that we on AutoCAD side we have had this distribution box system where you can do customizable distribution boxes. And before we had these distribution boxes as products, ready-made products, so that was maybe not an ideal solution for many of our customers, even though you could open the MagiCAD Create and there determine the amount of connectors or the geometry pretty easily and then insert it back to the model. But now we can make these custom distribution boxes as well here by just ad hoc like defining the geometry here and the elevation and clicking on OK just adds a box for us that represents the box here. And maybe I'll just open up a 3D view there as well, so you can see how it looks like from the side view. So here, what we just do, we have this box here, and we draw in the segments there. So the we have the connections in that way. Oops, let's take angle to horizontal and draw just one more ventilation pipe there. Let's take an alignment from an existing pipe there and continue drawing. Up, mouse got a bit stuck. So there we draw these duct segments into the box, distribution box, and go on and update the box. So what it does, it creates the connectors according to what kind of segments there are inside the box, and now we can use that in calculation, and as if it was any duct fitting that we have. So yeah, again, maybe it speeds up the actual 3D modeling a bit. Plus, you might not always have the exact that product available for you in our library. So that's the way to go then. And now that we are we want to always get closer to a real life data and products that have this intelligent data within them. So therefore, we have now added some intelligence into duct parts by taking the gender into account. So female, male connectors can now be decided, and we can work accordingly with them. So, for instance, maybe I'm as it is often we don't necessarily have much space here, so fittings might need to be attached to each other, which we haven't been able to do so far. But now for instance, this duct piece here can be returned or transferred into a union or a coupling, female or male coupling. So it takes into consideration the genders of these bends and TPs here, and we transfer it. First, we decide which object is going to stay on place, and then which part is going to be a union. And there we have one selection, and it adds the coupling part, and so therefore no extra tiny bits of duct segments are not needed anymore in between. Or if the gender is correct, we could also directly install the bend to the T branch, and in this way saves a lot of space and modeling. We're not having to model those tiny pieces of duct that aren't really there. So yeah, so these are this is like manufacturer information. So this specific example, for instance, is a Lindab product. So the information comes directly from the manufacturers, and we can use that in the modeling. A bit more about the manufacturer products. So if we go further to piping, so and we're talking about these pipe series. So you may have had experience when trying to build up these series and compiling them, it has been a bit laborious thing to do, because you have needed to do that one by one, each fitting one by one, collected from the maybe from our cloud, and in that way setting up the pipe series. But now we have this new feature so that we can directly download pipe series from the cloud with all the pieces that belong to the series. So, for instance, if I have this, let's see if my connections work here. From the cloud, we can filter manufacturers. For instance, this universal pipe from this manufacturer, if we can insert it right away into our dataset, and the information window here opens up with the manufacturer standard sizes, and here you can see all the fittings, bends, reducers, and joints that belong to the series. And yeah, if you don't need them all, you can then remove some of them here as well, and then just give all the other needed data when it comes to roughness, for instance, or these factors for sprinkler calculations if you need them. And since the dataset doesn't have any direct link to the project itself, we always transfer that kind of data to the project. So in this case, with this pipe series tool here, we bring that pipe series and determine here some of the routing preferences as well to the project. So and anytime we make any additions, maybe when it comes to fittings into the dataset, we need to update that information into the project. So it downloads all the families into the family tree for us to be used. And here we can see the LK fittings over here downloaded. Yes, in addition to, if we go back into the modeling a bit in piping, we have added this possibility to use absolute height levels when drawing. Let's see which maybe that is something, as an example, can be done in drainage side. Maybe we have these property water runoff sewer pipes that we need to draw, maybe these runoff wells that we install outside the building that can be that are maybe drawn in absolute level, like independently of any floor levels. So here in the drawing dialog, we can decide to use the absolute heights. Maybe it's a bit more visible here if I go to the upper floor. But yeah, you can just see that the elevation here changes according to the absolute or floor level. So that is, yeah, just a minor thing, but helps our designers to, you know, space up the design process just a bit. But then it all these smaller improvements then add up in the long run, of course, and makes everything easier and maybe less prone to errors as well. And that also goes for the absolute level, also goes for device installation. So depending on the project, there might be different requirements on this level setting. So therefore, also devices can be installed with using absolute height levels. And again, if you are have been familiar with our productivity tools, maybe you have used the angle to horizontal tool, and now there are minor improvements there as well. Let me just open up a 3D view again, so we can see it a bit better. Up. So maybe we want to go. Maybe we want to go with the heating supply and return pipes from being parallel to so that they are on top of each other, and at the same time make a 90-degree turn. So now with this angle to horizontal tool, it's slightly easier than before, not having to continue forward, but we can choose to go make a bend that right away at the end of this pipe here. Create angle to horizontal at the end of endpoint / side direction. So let's, and here maybe 45-degree. Let's go at bottom of the supply pipe, and let's also add a little tolerance there. So under that red pipe there, and let's continue then drawing to this downwards direction. So it creates the needed fittings right away, and we can continue drawing, as you can see here. So again, a little something that makes the productivity maybe a bit better. Also, when it comes to sprinkler, we have made like improvements, also like calculation wise and modeling wise. So maybe the pump selection hasn't been ideal before, but now we have been trying to improve that part as well now with this the so-called water source improvement. So what we can do here is we have here, oh yeah, by the way, I have the piping works it's still closed, so I'll just open that so we can see some pipes here. So like having a couple of design areas here and needing to dimension our pump sprinkler pump. So there is now a tool that maybe makes it a bit more comfortable. So if we just run the sprinkler calculation here and select what sprinkler design areas we want to calculate. So now we have this water source pressure diagram here that without installing any actual pumps or devices in the model, we can simulate this feed point pressure like circumstances by adding this curve, operational pump performance curve here, if you like, and maybe let's just add a new point there like this. And we have two design areas here, and we can now include this water pressure diagram in the calculation report, and therefore maybe have a hunch on that what kind of a pump we might need there. So clicking on OK opens up the calculation report, and here we have the water source diagram. And here we can see that where are the operational points from the systems for both design areas and where the water source is as we defined it. So like maybe makes it again a bit faster to model and select products to the project. Also, as a smaller installation related improvement, we have now added also the capability of installing sprinkler heads directly to the pipe. So no need to add any small pieces of pipe anymore, but now sprinkler heads directly to the pipe can be done. And I think my time is soon running out. So maybe just a word about the electrical as well. If you are designing with cable packets and you are actually drawing these conduits along the cable trays. So now this improvement in update release 1 makes it easier to draw cable packets directly on top of cable trays and cable channels. So here we just define a start point and end point. So the cable conduit is being drawn by itself along the run, and also taking the offsets into account. So if there are height differences, the cable or there might not be any fittings or bends, so these tolerance values make sure that our cable packet is able to run smoothly along the way. And a calculation related improvement in electrical is as well at the wire insulation that affects the calculation has now been added to the our wire management. So here, like while the list still comes from Revit electrical settings, but here we have now the cable insulation column here in our management. So now here selecting a new another insulation affects the wire size calculation when calculated with the Schneider calculations engine. Yes, so I think my time is pretty much up. Maybe it was already. So that's a few sneak peeks to what we developed in the 22 main release, and what is still to come in the update release 1. Is there any questions in the chat here, or do we have any more time to? Do I have any more time to reply to those questions during this session? I can take the questions after this session as well. Thank you. If no questions, thank you on my behalf. It was a pleasure to attend this BIM conference. And yes, hear you later. Thank you very much.
Nie chcesz przeoczyć żadnego wideo? Subskrybuj kanał i kliknij dzwoneczek.